Welcome back to the Renewing the Mind series, the place where we align our thinking with the truth of God's Word so that we're able to lead, live, and love at a much higher level. I'm really glad that you're here today, whether you're listening on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you consume great content. This episode is for you. So take a breath, open your heart, and let's go. Today we are diving into one of the most transformative truths in all of the Scriptures. It's found in Colossians chapter 3, verse 10, and if you truly grab hold of what this verse is saying, it will change the way that you see yourself, the way that you lead, and the way that you live every single day. Here it is, Colossians 3:10 from the New Living Translation. Put on your new nature. Be renewed as you learn to know your Creator and become like Him. Put on your new nature. Be renewed. Learn to know your Creator. Become like Him. 4 phrases, 1 life-changing verse. So let's unpack every single one. The world's way versus God's way. Before we can truly appreciate what it means to put on the new nature, we have to be honest about the old one. The world's way says you are who you've always been. Your past defines you. Your failures label you. Your wounds limit you. The world says evolve on your own terms, reinvent yourself by your own willpower, build your identity on your accomplishments, your social media presence, your net worth, or your resume. And here's the thing. That approach produces a kind of change. People do self-improvement. They read the books. They go to the therapies. They hustle harder, and there is value in growth, and I am not against growth at all. But here's what the world cannot do. The world can change your behavior, but only God can change your nature. Paul is writing this letter to the church of Colossae, and he's making a distinction between who they were before Christ and who they are now. The old self, the old nature was corrupted, twisted, self-centered, deceived, and no amount of personal development can fully fix a corrupted nature. That's not condemnation, that's diagnosis. And every good doctor knows you cannot prescribe the right treatment until you understand the real condition. It's a daily decision. Now the phrase put on is so intentional. In the original Greek, it's the word enduo, which means to clothe yourself, to dress yourself, to deliberately wear something. Think about that. Every morning when you get up, you don't accidentally get dressed. You make a choice about what to put on. You're intentional. You look in the closet and you say, this is what I'm wearing today. And Paul is saying, with the same intentionality, put on your new nature. It is a daily, active, conscious decision. God's way is not passive. It's not let go and let God in the sense that you do nothing. It is a co-laboring. It is a surrender and an engagement. You wake up and you say, today, I'm putting on who God says I am. I'm not going to wear yesterday's shame. I'm not going to put on the outfit of fear. I'm not going to dress myself in the opinions of people who don't know my purpose. That's radical. That's countercultural because the world tells you your feelings determine your identity. But God says your identity determines how you handle your feelings. You are not your mood. You are not your mistakes. You are not your past. You are who God recreated you to be, and it's time to put that on. Renewed as you learn. Now here's where it gets really good and really practical. The verse says you are renewed as you learn to know your Creator. The word renewed in the Greek anakano means to be made new again continuously. It is a present tense, ongoing process, not a one-time event. Salvation is a moment. Sanctification is a journey. And renewal, the renewing of the mind, is the engine of that journey. Romans 12:2 echoes this truth. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Transformation is the outcome. Renewal is the process. And the fuel for that process? Knowing God. You are renewed as you learn to know your Creator. This is where the world gets it completely backwards. The world says achieve more, then you'll feel worthy. Perform better, then you'll feel confident. Go to the top, then you'll feel significant. God says, know me. And out of that knowledge, out of that intimacy, out of that relationship, you will be transformed from the inside out. And here's the leadership application right here. You cannot lead people to a place of wholeness that you yourself have not been willing to go. The most powerful thing you can do as a leader, as a parent, as a business owner, as a spouse, is to pursue the knowledge of God with the same intensity you pursue everything else. When you know who God is, you know who you are. When you know who you are, you lead from a place of security instead of insecurity. You serve instead of striving. You build instead of performing. The goal? Christ-likeness. And then Paul closes this thought with the most breathtaking phrase, and become like him. This is the ultimate destination of renewal, Christ-likeness. Not perfection for perfection's sake, not religious performance, but genuinely, authentically, increasingly reflecting the image of the God who made you. Now, the world has its own version of this. The world says, become the best version of yourself. And I understand what people mean by that. And again, growth is good. But I want to challenge the ceiling on that idea. Because of the best version of yourself is still defined by your own limited imagination, your own ambitions, your own comfort zone. You may be growing, but you're not being transformed. God's goal for you is not the best version of you. God's goal for you is a new version of you, one that is being conformed to the image of his Son. Romans 8:29 says, "For God knew his people in advance, and he chose them to become like his Son." That is your destiny. That is your design. Not just to be a better leader, a better spouse, a better communicator, but to increasingly carry the nature, the character, the wisdom, and the love of Jesus into every room you walk into. That's God's way, and it is infinitely better than anything the world can offer. So how do you live this out? So let me leave you with 3 practical anchors that you can take with you this week. Anchor number 1, start your day with intention. Before your feet hit the floor, before you check your phone, before the noise of the day floods in, say it out loud. I am putting on my new nature today. I choose to walk in who God says I am. That's not positive thinking. That's spiritual warfare. That is faith in action. Anchor number 2, feed your renewal. Renewal happens as you learn to know God. That means the Word has to be a priority, not a supplement. Not something that you go to if you have time. It is the curriculum of your transformation. You cannot be renewed by what you never read, never meditate on, and never allow to sink in. Anchor number 3, measure your growth by Christ-likeness, not just accomplishment. As a leader, it is easy to measure your worth by what you produce, but God measures growth by who you're becoming. Are you becoming more patient, more generous, more honest, more loving? That is a real scorecard of a renewed mind. Here's the truth I want you to carry out of this episode today. You are not a project under construction based on your own blueprints. You are a new creation being renewed daily, designed to reflect the Creator himself. The world will try to hand you an identity every single day through comparison, through culture, and through criticism. But you have a different assignment. You've been called to put on your new nature, to dress yourself in truth, to be renewed in the knowledge of God, and to become like him. That is God's way, and God's way is always better. If this episode spoke to you, I want to encourage you. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a review, subscribe, and come back next week because we're going to continue to go deeper. Until next time, keep renewing your mind, keep walking in your new nature, and remember the God who created you is the God who is committed to completing you. Be blessed, be bold, and go lead at the level God has called you to. Revealing his kingdom, built for eternity, saved by grace through faith. Jesus is King of Kings, and he is Lord of Lords. And I pray that you have an amazingly blessed day today.